Welcome everyone to Clifton Camera's Panasonic GH5 Mark II review. I'm Fred, and today we're going to have a hands-on review of Panasonic's latest release, the GH5 Mark II. The GH5 has been around for a few years since its release and have become the go-to camera for indie filmmakers, vloggers and content creators. However, while the updated GH5 Mark II may seem incremental, it clearly shows that Panasonic has been listening to their customers when they released the Mark II. The GH5 Mark II looks identical to its predecessor, but don't be fooled, Panasonic has made some changes under the hood. The AF system has been improved dramatically, along with the addition of live streaming straight from the camera with no additional computer equipment required. Certain features have also been included from Panasonic's S1H and S5 cameras, such as built-in Vlog. This new update is no longer a paid update, but is included in the camera from the start. With the GH5 II, you now have the ability to record at 4K 10-bit 420 in camera. Another great addition is the luminance spot meter, which is indicated by means of a small block on the rear LCD. The waveform monitor can now also be scaled in size, making it much easier to read on the fly. And as I mentioned before, Vlog is now included along with a few new Cine-style presets, such as the Cine-like V2 for straight-to-video and Cine-like D2 for maximum dynamic range. We also have the L Monochrome S and L Classic Neo, which gives a filmic look in camera. The sensor is the same 20.3 megapixel CMOS Micro Four Thirds sensor as can be seen in the previous GH5. However, it's now coated with a new anti-reflective coating to help reduce flare, regardless of the lens you're using. The optical low-pass filter has also been removed to increase sharpness and detail. And if you're worried about moire, it's certainly a thing of the past, thanks to the new Venus processor, which has the ability to suppress any artifacts. The GH5 Mark II can still shoot in DCI 4K or Cinema 4K, but you're now able to shoot up to 30 frames per second in 422 10-bit. You can also shoot at 60 frames per second, however this mode is only available as 420 10-bit in camera. The LCD screen has also been improved. You may notice it's slightly smaller than the original GH5, however Panasonic has increased the brightness significantly, which means viewing this monitor in bright daylight is much easier now. The GH5 Mark II has the same body and button placement as its predecessor, which makes it great if you've invested in accessories such as cages for your older GH5. The only difference with the new body is the recording button being a red color, making it easier to spot when you're out in the field and brings the aesthetics in line with the newer Lumix range of cameras. The custom function button 1 has also changed to a dedicated color profile button. Other than that, you still have your dual SD card slots and the same physical connections such as mic, headphone jack, full-size HDMI and USB-C on the side. The USB-C also supports power delivery, which means you are able to charge the camera via USB. And speaking of charging, the battery has now been improved with the DMW BLK22 battery, which are the same batteries used in the S5. The GH5 Mark II is also backward compatible with the older GH5 batteries. So if you have any of those lying around, you can still use them. It's important to note that only the newer charger, however, can charge both types of batteries. Now, most of the mirrorless lenses today are focused by wire lenses, which means that the focus isn't always as smooth and precise as one would expect to see on the more expensive cine lenses. However, Panasonic has taken another great feature from the S5, which is the ability to change the linearity of the focus from a fully linear to completely non-linear response. Changing the settings in the menu to a fully linear response means the lens will act more like a mechanical lens and increase the throw of your focus ring. This gives you the ability for more precise and accurate manual focus. While staying on the subject of focusing, Panasonic has dramatically improved the speed and subject tracking from the older GH5, thanks to the new Venus engine. The same processor, in fact, can be seen on the S1H. This enables the GH5 Mark II to have the same 225 area DFD point as the older GH5, but vastly improves the speed and accuracy of its autofocus system. Due to the smaller Micro Four Thirds sensor, speeds are also dramatically increased thanks to the smaller sensor's readout area, which is similar to using the cropped feature on the S5. You also have the new autofocus features such as animal, head and body autofocus, which helps a lot when locking onto any moving subject. Unfortunately, no AF functionality is available when using the slow motion VFR modes. However, you can use AF before you hit record and lock your focus in that way. Heading over now to the biggest feature and most talked about feature of the GH5 Mark II, the live streaming functionality. As I briefly mentioned earlier, the live streaming can be done straight by either tethering your phone to your camera and streaming directly to YouTube, Facebook, or a custom RTMPS setup, all by using a Wi-Fi hotspot, such as your home router. The good news is that streaming can also be done in 1080p at 60 frames per second, 16 megabits per second. You can also use the LUMIX streaming software on either Windows or Mac to tether your GH5 Mark II via USB-C to your computer. However, it's important to note that this will limit the output to 1080p at 30 FPS. Now the good news doesn't stop there. Along with the GH5 Mark II announcement made earlier this year, Panasonic has also announced the GH6. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of information on this new camera just yet. However, the specs have been released and look incredible. It's important to note that this is not an iteration of the GH5, as it features completely new sensor, processor and the ability to record at 4K 120 FPS in 10-bit. It'll also have 5.7K 60p at 10-bit and will be released towards the end of 2021. It's great to see Panasonic rolling out the new GH5 along with the much anticipated GH6 later this year, meaning you'll have an up-to-date GH5 to act as a secondary camera along with the GH6, both featuring the latest specs available on the market today. We'll be sure to release more information on this very promising camera from Panasonic. So be sure to subscribe to our channel and keep an eye on our website for any of the latest updates. And that's it for our review on the GH5 Mark II. Please leave your thoughts in the comments below, and if you're interested in this new camera, head over to our website now using the link in the description below. I'm Fred with Clifton Cameras, and I'll see you next time.